Well, yeah, but so he's still working out the details, but it's like alternate activations, things like that. There's a few differences to make it easier.
Oh, interesting.
Because whoever goes first is just going to win.
Right.
So instead, you're going to alternate activations.
That's cool. I like that.
So we'll see.
It doesn't sound like my grandpa's 40K.
Well, your grandpa's 40K was more of a role-playing game, so...
Yeah.
I don't even know my grandpa was alive when 40K was a thing. I know my mom's dad definitely wasn't. He died in like 63.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow, yeah. Jesus.
Well, he died when she was 18.
Oh, wow.
But my dad's dad died in like 2000, so 40K was a thing then.
Yeah.
There you go. Hello, Mr. Inquisitor.
Oh man, we have somebody watching now?
Yeah, so I gotta watch what you say.
Do I behave myself?
Yeah, don't be so bellicose.
So I don't make bellicose, yeah. So I don't make people angry this time around.
You don't want to become 40K radio.
It's true.
It's true.
I want to start calling you Romeo.
Background music on. You know, I'm trying to change the
have your Himalayan salt. Just take your Himalayan salt bath.
No. I got some Dire Straits in the background. You know,
I thought you had like some Gojira or something.
No, I should put like Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice and mellow. Setting the tone. Make sure everybody's a little happier this time around.
Orcs are coming out.
Yeah, I know. Those models are sick.
That's not a thing.
Those models are sick.
I don't care.
I'm sorry.
I'm not saying they're not sick. I'm saying orcs won't be a thing.
Speed freaks probably won't be a thing, but I could know. Horde orcs I could see being a thing.
So the new models that everybody loves won't be a thing.
That won't be the first time that's happened.
No, I know it won't. That's the entirety of Dark Eldar for like 2 editions.
Yes.
So, you know,
pretty much.
We should be used to it this one.
Yeah. All right, John.
You ready to start?
Yeah.
All right. I gotta get the show on the road.
Doesn't matter if I'm ready. We got to start.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Home screen. Now it's on your screen.
Home screen. It's not. There we go.
It's not real time on Twitch, man. You have to go.
I know.
Not what you see.
I gotta go with what I see. What I spy with my one little eye. Oh man. Hey everybody. Welcome to another episode, TFG Radio. As you can tell, we aren't in person again. The ban is still in effect.
I like that we keep saying that, and some people are going to start to believe it.
Well, if you apologized, Adam, it'd probably go over better.
I'm not going to take the blame for faulty plumbing. But yeah, so once again, we're gonna have to go over Discord, which is not a bad thing.
No, we've got it kind of figured out now, dialed in,
more or less. So what we're going to talk about today is we had a Rogue Trader tournament at our local store this past weekend. SoCal Open is coming up. It was practice for SoCal Open. And we'll discuss a couple other things that some Patreon members brought up in our Patreon Facebook group. So if you want to help with the direction of the show, be sure to go to our Patreon page. Just look up, go to patreon.com/TFG Radio, or just look at TFG_radio, and just look up TFG Radio, and become a $5 donator, and you'll be included in the Facebook group, not the chat, because we all have enough chats we have to go through.
We don't need another one.
Just join.
Your pitch just made me think of this Mr. Sparkle episodes of The Simpsons, where it's like, "Hello, rich American investor."
I wouldn't change Asian women into sumo wrestlers, though. I'd probably do the opposite.
Wow. Okay.
That's what happens in the commercial.
Yeah, I know.
Believe you.
Do you? Do you?
I do. It's fine.
Okay, you may hear us, but do you really hear it?
I hear it.
But are you listening?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing new for me.
So so and then you can join in the chat discussions that we have, and a lot of times we'll ask what people want us to talk about on the show. So let me go over the RTT we had just this past weekend. Unfortunately, I think, were you supposed to go, John?
No.
Okay.
It ended up that like I had the random chance to go,
Mhm.
and then but I'd already made plans for otherwise, and so I was like, oh, I guess I could have gone, but I made these other plans instead. So oh well.
So I went. I ended up not playing and just helping out. I'm starting to enjoy that part of it more, as opposed to playing. Thanks for subscribing again, Axis.
Yeah, 7 months in a row.
So we had 15 players, a wide variety. We had one Knight player, a number of Eldar player. We had Necrons, I think 2 Death Guard armies, and I think 2 or 3 Tyranid armies.
Oh, wow.
So it was a wide range. Unfortunately, Alan ended up taking the day.
Well, how did that happen?
I don't know.
This doesn't seem correct.
He actually stayed for the whole day.
Oh, that helps.
That's what I'm
And
saying.
he was playing the same. He was playing the same Eldar army he took to the Dice Hammer GT.
So what you're saying is, if you play an army enough consistently, you'll do well with it.
No, that's heresy. Heresy.
And he's
and if you stay for an entire event, you'll do well at it.
Heresy.
Mr. Inquisitor, thanks for subscribing.
Oh, hey, thanks, man.
Nice, man. Cool. We got a sub train going. Right. I've always wanted to use that phrase and never been able to.
at least in a correct contect.
It's probably the only time we'll get to use that phrase, but I got to do it.
At least in public. So Alan played against Jason McKenzie and his Admech with Knight in his first game. I can't remember who his second game was. His second game was against another player.
Uh-huh.
And then his third game was against Matthew with his Knights that had a Valiant in it. It was like all the Knights people don't normally take.
Yeah, I've never seen a Valiant on the table.
It had a Valiant.
I've seen it from the top tables down at the bottom tables.
It was a Valiant, and he had the Errant, which is the one with the giant melta cannon, and then I think a Paladin, it was a Gallant, Smash Captains, and one Helvern.
So he had one standard Knight, the Gallant.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Or the one everybody sees. And then the Smash Captains. And that one came down to I think Alan had some good rolls and was able to take down the Valiant fairly early. So So Eldar on top. What a surprise. The first and second were actually Eldar. Second place was Jay with his Seer Council star.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Inquisitor, do you mean Knight Porphyron? Is that what you meant by Knight Porp? Okay, go ahead.
Perp.
Jay's list. Did you see what he says? What was Jay's list?
Jay's list was, I think it was the same one also, because the same list as last tournament, which was a bunch of stuff, but his main thing was the Seer Council. It was a full-size 10-man squad Seer Council on jet bikes. And the reason it's so durable is because once he gets all the powers up,
it doesn't die. All
3-up invulnerable in close combat, and from shooting, he played against a Necron player that actually killed everything else in his army except his Seer Council, and Jay still won the game.
Yeah.
by basically wiping out the rest of the other guys. Well, not wiping out, but just by killing all the important stuff. Now, to be honest, they did not finish the game in time, and the Necron player wasn't paying attention to the clock because they didn't use chess clocks.
What?
Yeah, I actually
What?
brought. I have a projector,
Mhm.
and I actually brought my laptop to have a timer so everyone could
Yeah,
see.
you did that last time. And you did
I did it for
Hammer
Hammer Wrath.
Yeah.
And they were at the table that was closest to the wall, and
Okay.
he still didn't notice the time.
Nice. Solid. Well
So I can't help that.
Yeah, that's
you
what we
can
call
lead a
player
horse to water, right?
Yeah.
again, player error.
So because I think he would have either tied or actually maybe have won if he had known it was the last turn, or if he had known earlier that it would be the last turn. But we didn't really enforce the chess clocks in this one, but we may just do it as standard going forward.
Really should.
At least for the second and third rounds, probably.
Right. That makes sense.
So
Axis, I don't feel like the pointy-eared races ever really went away, but I definitely think we discussed last time that of all the things after the FAQ that they definitely got hit the least, or
Yeah.
in the least nerf type way. So and because the other armies that were good against them took a larger nerf, they're definitely going to continue being top tier for sure.
Yeah. The balance of power was definitely altered here.
Yeah, and in their favor.
Oh yeah, by far. I mean, just knights were the perfect anti-Eldar matchup, and then
Yes.
they just went away. So
Well,
I mean,
they
they
went
just
away
went from
completely,
two-
but they got whacked
Yeah.
hard enough that they're just not
they're not going to be able to
yeah,
be the check to the Eldar
right.
list.
Because there won't be enough people taking them anymore, so the Eldar players
Right.
have a better chance. Yeah.
Yeah.
well, there were just last week there were 3 tournaments, GTs. One of them was pre FAQ,
Yes.
and in that one, Pure Nightless actually won, and that was Iron Halo. The other 2, which is the Mugu GT and the Michigan GT, although the Michigan GT had its own custom missions.
Right.
In both those, Eldar came in first.
Oh well.
So, and both of those were post FAQ.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's a combination of people dropping knights, so you're not seeing them, or I mean, it's probably a combination of the knights getting hit and then the people just dropping them because they took that hit. And
Yeah.
going with
Well,
Right.
there was that whole contingent of knight players who, picked them up because it's a relatively easy army to build fast and it was super strong, but as soon as it's not like a relatively like easy to do army that you can win well with, people are going to drop them. As soon as it takes a little bit of finesse to win with, those types of lists die off pretty quick. Mr. Inquisitor wants to know if Axis eventually wants
Axis.
you to explain the Seer Council gimmicks.
The gimmick with that is he needs to go with it's a full 10-man squad all on bikes. I think he used to have an autarch in it, but he replaced the autarch for a Farseer. And basically what it does is he hides it. If he goes first or hopefully doesn't get shot, then he powers up by casting what's the one that gives them the +1 to their save?
I don't know
Conceal.
the powers well enough.
Well, there's one that gives them a +1 to their save, and they normally have a 4-up invulnerable save. So it
Yes.
becomes a 3-up, and that's a 3-up also in close combat.
Right.
And then,
you can't get them to
huh?
2-up, right?
No,
Right.
the 3-up is the best it can do.
But you can get them to -2 to hit?
Yes,
Right. Pretty easily.
with a power and a stratagem, you
Right.
can get them -2 to hit. Once you cast Jinx, and I think there's one that takes their toughness down. I know you can cast Jinx, Guide, things like
Isn't it
that.
Feeble or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Or that might be a chaos power. But you do the combo casting that Eldar does, and then once they get in there, they just start. Even though they don't hit hard, and that their weapons aren't minus. They don't have a minus, or they're only -1.
No, I don't think they have AP.
It's number of attacks and number of saves you have to make.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're strength 9, so they're wounding pretty much everything on 3s.
Yeah, I think they hit on 2. They hit on 2s and wound,
Right.
and they're strength 9. So
Yeah.
against knights, even though knights have a 3+, So if you throw enough attacks at it, you're going to do enough wounds.
Right.
But like I said, and because they're a 3+ invulnerable save, it's very tough to kill them.
Yes.
That makes sense.
So and he's done fairly well with that build, but it's really the psychic powers that, because it's a Seer Council and the Farseer, that really make it what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's taking the right powers, making sure those powers go off, and then just doing whatever they need to do, whether it's shooting or close combat.
Yeah.
So so that was the RTT. Not too bad. There's a lot more RTTs springing up in our area, so it's taking away from our local scene, our local store anyway. So we'll have to see if what happens in the future as these other stores. But that's another topic.
Other RTTs and
taken away
other
from
reasons unique to the store itself.
We can discuss that another. That's a whole nother topic.
That's a whole another can of worms.
But I mean, it's still the thing of, even if the store was no complaints at all about maybe certain aspects of it, there's just the reality that there's now, there's like 2 tournaments in our player sphere of influence, like on the second Saturday, like ours.
Right. Or
so
the
it's
first
just
or third. Like, I mean, they're all close to each other.
Yeah.
Right. And most guys can't do the whole, I go to a tournament every weekend, right? You get one weekend, you get to go. So,
and you're going to go to the local one usually.
Exactly. You're gonna go close to home. So we lose a lot of the guys from like Santa Clarita, from Bakersfield, San Diego, not to mention just like the Inland Empire. Like, it's pretty crazy actually when you think about it.
We used to get a lot of people from like San Diego and Orange County.
Bakers, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't get as many of them anymore.
Yep.
Yeah, and then next month is our 1-day team tournament. So
that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that.
We'll see. We may have enough to do 2 teams, but I don't know if we'll be able to. So we'll have to. We have our group has to talk about that at some point.
Come on, old man wrecked. Let's go.
See who takes offense when we pick those teams.
What? Everyone I called out seemed excited about the idea.
I'm not being on the old man team.
You're not. I didn't invite you on that. I didn't invite you on that team.
Wow. You're not in that chat, John.
Yeah.
What?
There are chats that you are not in.
There's a 40K chat I'm not in.
No. Nor do we talk about you in that chat.
It feels like I'm in every 40K chat. And they're all on mute.
But that was that was this past weekend. So it was, again, a lot of fun. A good turnout considering the state of the game in our area. So it's not too bad. But orcs. Let's talk about orcs real quick.
So pretty.
Do we have
so
to?
pretty? Yes.
Because we still have about 2 weeks left, or a week and a half of October.
Yep.
Yeah. Middle of next week is
13 days.
Yeah, to the middle of next week. Yeah, or 2 weeks in a row. Yeah, October's not over yet, and
no.
So people need to stop crying about it not being. Hey, look at that fortuitous meme.
So, John, your opinion so far? What you've seen?
I don't know. I'm not that impressed. The models are cool, but I don't think they're going to be that game-changingly great. They're just going to be whatever. I think I don't know. I can't buy into the hype. I think they're just going to be another army.
First off, how dare you?
Sure. Sure.
For those that don't know, orcs were Danny's first army.
They were the second edition box, man. I remember splitting that with my boy Scott, who I finally gotten back into 40K via Kill Team, or at least playing Kill Team.
I remember buying that second edition box, especially with the cardboard dreadnought.
Yep. Those models are gorgeous. They're not cool. They're gorgeous. Like, those are really awesome models.
Yeah.
I agree.
Aren't they also like $60 a model?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Speed Freaks is probably not going to be super meta bending. I mean, I've been wrong before, but I just, from what we've seen so far, I don't see it. But I think there might be some impact on the meta just for depending what foot slogging orcs get,
Yeah, I like the models. Um, I like some of the rules for the models. We'll have to see what the points are. We can basically gauge an idea of what the points are. It's not that hard. But vehicles, like I think I don't remember if it was John or Jeff mentioned, vehicles to in this current environment, especially light vehicles like Rhinos, Razorbacks, things like that, you don't see them.
Right.
Now, orcs are a little different in that you can give that they have like there's the one that can teleport.
That's
Okay,
that's the best one to me
that's
that I
probably
saw
the
for
one you're
that.
gonna. Yeah, you're probably gonna see that one the most.
Yeah.
But
Is that the one that also blows up on a 4+?
yes, I think so.
Yeah. So that's definitely the best one.
So that's, I mean, and then that might just be something to complement as opposed to the main force.
Right.
I'm excited about sniper shock attack guns. So
Yeah, that's sweet.
we'll see what happens. But I'm still hesitant. I'll probably do orcs anyway. But it would be more like the fun army. It's not
Right.
gonna. It's not an army I intend to win with, unless there's something in there. Because we haven't seen any stratagems or any of the character rules
Right.
for like the big mech or the war boss or the pain boy. If any of that has changed, I mean,
God, could you imagine how awesome if Pain Boys went back to 5+ feel no pain?
oh god, yeah, that might change some people. That might change people's opinions about the army if you have like 100 and something boys that have 5+ feel no pain.
100. Well, I'm talking 160.
Wow.
Those are rookie numbers. Got to pump those numbers up.
I'll be conservative. I want those vehicles. So we'll see what happens. I'm not again. I'm probably going to build an orc army. I'm although I haven't shown it online, I am kind of disappointed in that the codex wouldn't come out in October.
Sure.
But they never promised that. So
No.
Oh, they just said October would be Orktober.
yeah.
They didn't specify what Orktober meant.
Right.
No, they didn't. They just, but I mean, you knew it had something to do with the buggies, and everyone was just hoping that it would be because it would make sense in it would make a marketing sense to release the Orc Codex in October. But
Yes.
what do I know? I'm not in marketing. I haven't been in marketing in like 15, 20 years. So I don't know. Maybe my marketing skills have gone down, but that's what I would do. But
I don't remember you ever being in marketing, so your skills must be further down than they used to be.
Yes, because that was before I met you.
It was a long time ago.
That was before we started dating.
What?
So at least I'm building an orc army. I don't know what though. I don't know if it'll be speed freaks or just boys. I'm kind of hoping the dreadnoughts are good, the killer cans and the.
That'd be nice. Those are great models.
But again, it's the same problem as the speed freaks. They're light vehicles essentially. I'm hoping the Gorkanaut, Morkanaut are good, so I can field at least one, maybe two.
Yeah, I really hope they'd be something knight equivalent, you know. Whoa.
Sorry about that. That was not meant to happen. My bad. Fix it in post.
We don't do post-production. What are you talking about?
Well, that's true.
Except for random sound effects on Adam's part.
Yeah. Post production is hitting the up button.
No, the last episode, the sound effects were me.
Oh, okay.
Like the lasers and stuff.
Yeah.
That was me.
Yeah,
that makes more sense. That seemed like more effort than Adam would be willing to give.
When I did those live, too. You just couldn't hear them through the Discord.
Ah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Tricky bastard.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, you were saying, Adam.
Oh, that the problem with the orc dreads, because I remember when I ran orcs in third, I had I think it was like 6 or 9 killer cans.
Yeah.
In my army, and you know, and then the can wall was a thing for a while.
Yeah.
You know, and
sweet can wall.
You know, and to bring that back or some form of it back, you know, it's hard to do because again, the current climate is not very conducive to light or medium vehicles.
No, not at all.
So So it's kind of hard. So you're probably going to have to do something. You're going to have to use something like a Gorkanaut or Morkanaut, maybe, depending on how many points they are.
Yeah, which may or may not be any good at all.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So we have to. There's still a lot, so much unknown, especially with the stratagems, that it's hard to gauge whether it's worth getting into now. Do I start by now? Do I wait? What am I going to do? I mean, they got orc players last time with the last during 6th edition when they released all the models first and then released the codex. All the new models you just bought were like not very good.
Yeah, they're all garbage. Like the Morkanaut and Gorkanaut, people are like, oh man, these are going to be so slick. Oh my god. And it's like, oh, these are garbage.
Yeah, they were terrible. Back in the days when they released the models and then the codexes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this was just the one, and that was a real orc month. Because it was like 4 weeks of just orc models, and at the end of the month,
they
released the codex.
And then and all the models they released were trash in the codex.
So they did October right, except it was the wrong month.
Was that when they introduced the plastic Ludas?
Yes.
So that was the...
this was 6th edition.
Oh, okay.
It was 6th edition orcs, when orcs got their codex in 6th edition. That's when because that's when the new I think it was the new Mega Knobs or the Flash Kits were new or something like that, and they released a new model, a new box every week, and then the codex at the very end, and that's when everybody got disappointed.
Right.
And of course they wait till the end because then you throw away your receipt and you can't return it. But I think I'm gonna have to start stocking up on at least Ludas with the new DACA rule. So
yeah, I mean even shooter boys. I mean that's a lot of strength 4 shooting.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, I played. I was telling John Tuesday. I was playing. I used to play Death Skulls.
Right.
So and I still have one model that I kept because when I sold the army, I kept the one orc sniper because they used to be able to get orc snipers who hit on a 4. Because back then you used to hit on 2s when you were a sniper. So orc snipers hit on 4s instead of 5s. That's how good they were. So good. So, Danny, you in? You in on orcs? Or are you gonna wait?
I'll probably wait. I mean, I'm still trying to decide whether I use the last of my hobby money for the foreseeable future on orcs or kind of doing sisters to do the beta codex testing and all that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's right. That comes out
in December. So
yeah,
I don't know because the orc song is heavy in my heart just because it's like, it's my first army. I could have my orcs and my Tyranids and then feel pretty good about that, but then I don't have a functioning Imperium army, which feels weird.
That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been big in the Imperium anyway, but still, I guess.
I'll probably start. Go ahead.
I was going to say, it's also, part of this is I still have the thought of man, maybe I should have an actual competitive army because I do the best I can with the bugs, but they're not tier, they're not S tier. And I always feel like maybe I should actually have an S tier army. Occasionally remind some of the your members of our team that I have been playing this game for 20 years and I am pretty good at it. But then that sounds like work and
So John is out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. No.
It isn't appear. I'll probably build one. I don't know if I'll do Speed
before
Freaks.
I make a decision. There's no way I even contemplate it without having the codex and out and see what it's like.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I would either way. I'm waiting for the codex. Yeah. I'll probably. I'm definitely buying the codex, but I'm not gonna buy any models until I'm very sure that yes, this is the right thing to do.
Yeah, orcs were never my aesthetic anyways. I played them a little bit in 5th because I liked the army I came up with in 5th.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But it's not they've never been my thing. So there's no point in me being super excited about any of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I played orcs in 3rd and 4th. It was like I said, it was Death Skulls. And if I can remember, it was just boys, grots, killicans, They didn't have looters back then. But it was fun to play. They did have the looted vehicle though, and that's where all the
those were
orc
awesome.
players get the notion of looting everything. So because you can literally take any vehicle in any, at least in any Imperial army. I can't remember. I don't think you could do any of the other ones, and use it at a reduced
Effectiveness.
reduced effectiveness. But it was still good. I used the Lehman Russ.
Yeah. I played Green Tide before Green Tide existed, and it was the first time I think I'd ever fully painted an army of more than like 60 models.
I think my orc army was on the light side with like 120 models total, but this was early, like it was like third and fourth. So
yeah, I had like 160, so it was one of those plus knobs and all that other junk.
Yeah,
but it's a young man's army, man. I don't know if my back can take that.
Orcs have always been good with the, at the time, hidden power fists. So
yeah. I mean, they're one of the reasons we have the idea of the hidden power fist. It was really just referring to Marines and orc boys with knobs. And orc boys were better at it because, it was way harder to kill. You still had to kill 29 orcs to get to the hidden power fist. You only had to kill 9 Space Marines.
yeah. So I'll probably start stocking up on boys, Ludo boys. I'll hold off on War Boss, on the special characters until I see this codex. But
yeah, I'm interested what they're going to do to Gazgul.
I'm hoping they get a new model, but it may be after the codex is out. It probably won't be in conjunction with. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just speculating at this point. Nobody knows it. Nobody knows anything.
Yeah. Least of all us.
Well, we're not. One, we're not playtesters, and two, we're not like avid orc players. So,
right.
I would assume they tap into that community to help with the codex. They did that with the Dark Eldar. So,
yeah,
but they did it with the Necrons, and then that burned them. So who knows?
Well, yeah, because they leaked the whole book. So,
I mean, I'm saying, I don't know how many. I don't know what their tolerance level is for that kind of stuff. Like I don't. I honestly have no idea what their tolerance level is for getting burned like that. I mean, they got burned hard by those Necron playtesters who had the codex and released the whole thing weeks in advance.
But were they playtesters? I don't.
I think they were, because that's how they had the codex so many weeks in advance.
Oh, okay.
And released the whole thing, and shitstorm.
Yeah. So we'll see that. I don't know if I'm gonna get the Speed Freaks box. I don't want all the vehicles. I think I just want the teleporting one.
Yeah.
And I'll just wait until it's either bits out. Someone takes the bits and sell them that way, or I get the codex, which will probably be a week later, and then I'll buy the. I'm sure there'll be plenty available. So
yeah, I would wait for the rules no matter what.
Yeah, especially it's we've all been hurt before, right? Yes. Especially orc players.
So why buy any of the models, even if you already have some, just to be able to not play them?
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, you're going to buy boys no matter what. You're probably going to buy Ludas no matter what.
Not if you're not actually going to play it. Like if it's so bad it's unplayable.
Ludas have been good for a while, and following the usual GW trick, if it's been good for a while, it's not going to be good again.
No, I don't. I think, but they haven't been overpowered good lately, so I don't think they're going to.
That's true.
And that's one of the few units that orcs have that has relatively decent shooting because of the number of shots you can put out.
Axis of Entropy says he joined the guy's Discord, the Necron guy, and that he claimed GW said he could publish it.
Oh yeah,
and I'm just like, sure. Yeah, I'll believe that when I see a letter from GW clearing you of what you did.
Yeah. That sounds exactly like GW.
I'll
they are very open
when a court of law has cleared you from your lawsuit.
So I'll probably just stock up on boys. I hear that's good. Boys and looters. I think boys will. I can't see boys getting any worse.
I mean, they could up their points, I guess.
Sure, because they're dominating so far.
Because they're so good right now. Why not just up their points by 4 or 5 points a model? Give them the old Space Marine treatment.
I guess it could.
I don't know, man. I still think orcs are a really good dark horse even right now with the index. It's just people who, I mean, not a lot of people play the like 160 boys army, and they don't they don't know how to play it fast, so they don't finish their games, or to play it well, right? To play it as a board control list as opposed to like I just wreck your face list, right? That's the thing. 160 boys with, you know, Pain Boys and KFF. It's all about just board control and just out grinding your opponent, right? And like, but orc players, you know, because that's what orcs do, just want to run up and bash face, and that's not ideal.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, like I said, we'll see. There's just too many variables, so we'll have to take a wait and see attitude right now, and hopefully there's something good in there. I'm not even asking for like Eldar Knight level of good. I'm just hoping for like even Dark Angel good.
Yeah, solid B plus.
Yeah, you know.
No, that's. I think that's always fine. I mean, I don't think every army needs to be super S tier to be winnable. It's just, you know, it's hard to though win if you don't do a
yeah,
you know, if you're not S tier.
Yeah, so
it's hard to win big events. Let me put it that way.
Dark Angels are C. Dark Angels.
I agree with Axis on this one.
Well, Dark Angels are probably one of, if not counting Death Watch. I guess you can count Death Watch.
I think Death Watch and
then Dark Angels.
No, Death Watch and Blood Angels are the only B Space Marine armies. Ultramarines. Ultramarines is solid B because you've got a couple of really good builds with Gilman. Every other Marine army is like, I would put them all solidly in the D category.
Oh yeah,
Dark Angels included. Like,
I don't know.
No, Dark Angels can stack negative to hits, which makes them good.
Yeah,
right.
Do you see them doing anything?
I just don't think enough. I just don't think top players play them.
BAO. Came in what, third, fourth?
Yeah, that's that one player who's the best Dark Angel player in the country. In the ITC,
there's at least
by
two,
far.
I think.
Like, he's literally the best Dark Angels player. But week after week, you look at tournament results, and Dark Angels aren't even close.
But are people even bothering to try? That's the problem. The problem with that might be perception.
Mm-hmm.
I think the problem with that is it's like the Don Houston problem. There are certain players who are going to be able to play that army and do well with it, and you give that same army to somebody else, and they're not going to be able to do it.
Right. Well, yeah, that's like the Sean Nathan thing too. He won Battle for Salvation with an Eldar army that you look at it and you don't know how it works because you're not Sean Nathan.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think some of it might be the perceived.
Well, there's always that problem with lists too, because like there's the couple of Tau armies that did well recently, that it was really the event formats that let them do well.
Right.
Not necessarily like the list or the player. It was the player played that list to that event's missions perfectly because the missions were weird and the format was odd.
You
know, so that's why they did so well with those Tau lists. Because Tau is another one of those ones that's like a solid B- army that can't seem to, you know, it's always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas Dark Angels don't even get asked to be a bridesmaid.
Right.
Like they were on the D list for bridesmaids. They weren't even a backup. They were the backup to the backup that was like asked to not even do anything for the wedding at all, except for maybe show up. Maybe.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens at SoCal Open. So, speaking of which, So I think out of the three of us, I'm gonna.
Adam's sound dropped out.
Yep, it did.
That's not good, Adam.
Did it?
There you go. Go ahead.
I said for SoCal Open, three of us, I'm the only one going.
Yep.
Although in our team, it seems like about 10 of us going.
Yeah, our team's going to represent pretty well. It's just, I was going to go, but just having to go up to Oregon and was more expensive than I kind of budgeted for. So I just, couldn't really justify the cash of the ticket and the hotel room and all that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, I was going to attempt to swing it last minute, but I ended up having to reschedule a Sunday class that I teach for the high school entrance exam. So I had to reschedule a class to that Sunday. because of another conflict. So there's just no way now I can even try to like finagle it at the very end. So I was going to legitimately try because it's not sold out. I was going to try to get one of the tickets last minute and just crash on somebody's floor and lose with my nights with salty tears in my eyes.
Yeah, they said they're not at 250, but they're above 200 currently.
Right.
I'm taking the same list I've been playing for the last 3-4 months, so there's no reason to change it at this point, I figure, since there'll be more changes in December.
Yes. That's true.
So,
and SoCal Open, for those who don't know, is a Frontline Gaming Run event.
mm-hmm.
It's a huge major. I believe there will be more players than at the Bay Area Open.
This year. Next year, there'll probably be more BAO, yeah.
Well, yeah, because Bay Area Open's going to change its... or it changed its venue.
It changed its venue.
So SoCal Open's got a big space. It's going to have a big event. There's other events at it, unlike at the current Bay Area Open where it's only 40K. And so it's run by Reese and Frankie and the guys at Frontline Gaming. And we get to play in this one if we choose, not have to help them run it. Which is always good.
Yeah, so I'm going, Alan's going, who just won TT and came in second at Dice Hammer. Jeff is going, for those that don't recall, he was the winner from Hammer Wrath and came in 8th at this past LVO. Tom is going, Jeff's pet project. Jacob's going, like half the team's going, so we're going to have a big party.
Jeff's also coming off of a GT win from August.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mentioned that when I said Hammer of Wrath winner.
Oh, I only heard you say a Barry Open placing. Sorry, I missed that.
You really don't listen, do you?
I was pointing out to Axis of Entropy in the chat that he said Dark Angels may be the best Primaris only chapter, and they said Azrael's a big part of that, and I had to point out that Azrael's not a Primaris Marine.
Nope.
Because
if you proxy. That's the best Primaris.
Proxy, yeah. No, proxies don't count. He's not a Primaris model. So you don't have a Primaris army.
The best Primaris army is Deathwatch.
I'm pretty pedantic, aren't I?
Yes.
Yes.
At least I have self-awareness.
That's something.
Unlike some people I know.
Oh my god! So, so we're gonna have.
What are you talking about? I'm perfect.
I wasn't talking about you, actually. You can self-project all you want, but I wasn't actually talking about you.
I know he's not talking about me.
I'm not.
But we're gonna have a big team barbecue there on Saturday night, so it should be lots of fun.
Yeah. No, you guys will have a good time. I mean,
try not to burn down your hotel room, okay?
Yeah, we'll be burning down the patio area, not the.
Yeah.
Either way, don't burn something down that you have to charge for. Although it's all on Alan's credit card, right?
Yes, so we can burn down whatever we want.
And remember to make sure Danny Kwan has his entire army painted.
That's right. I forgot about that from last year.
Oh my god!
Never forget, John.
I wasn't there. I had no part of it.
So this will probably be the last event for me anyway until LVO. Well, I wouldn't even count that until probably BAO. BAO is probably the next one, unless I fly out somewhere.
Right.
But that's a whole new season. I'm not going to worry about that till after SoCal.
Yeah. Well, that's a nice segue into our other topic, right? Unless there's more you want to talk about with SoCal.
No, that's basically it. That's where we're at with SoCal. Reese put the call out to help for on terrain building for this weekend.
Yeah.
So if you live in the area and want to drive down to help out, he usually provides lunch and dinner.
Yeah.
Usually, don't quote me on that. Or you could. I don't care.
He usually has beer and pizza for everybody.
Yeah. So.
Damn, I want to go now.
Yeah.
Who does pizza and beer?
Convince your wife to make a day trip down to San Diego.
Oh man, I have so much nonsense going on this weekend. I have my sister coming in tomorrow to stay with us. And then
nice.
A funeral on Saturday and a festival for work on Saturday. Class on Sunday to teach. Yeah, no, this weekend's not happening.
I am where am I going? I think I'm just going to the movies.
That's it? Those are your plans?
Yeah, that's my plans. Movies. Stay in.
I'm going to be grading. I just finished midterms, so I've got about 300 pages of material to grade this weekend.
Oh, man.
Easy.
Which is what I should be doing right now that I'm not.
So speaking of my break in between playing, at least one of the Patreon members asked, um, because not everybody can play in a tournament every weekend or at once or even once a month. Things come up,
Mm-hmm.
work, family obligations. Um, his question to us was, "What do you do with that quote unquote downtime or off season, as you were, kind of like a so like I said, I'm probably not playing until I'm playing. I hope to play in tournaments, but let's just say I'm not playing until at least January or February. How do you stay? I don't know. How do you stay honed? I guess, for lack of a better term, for 40K, anyways. Danny.
I think you have to accept that you're not going to stay sharp, that you're going to develop ring rust no matter what. But you can mitigate how rusty you get by staying plugged into what's going on, right? Paying attention to the lists that are making the top 8 at major events, right? Keeping up with any new releases, making sure you're staying active in a chat with your team, so you're hearing about games and those, things like that. Like, you have to stay engaged and be thinking about the game and the kind of theoretical constructs of it. And then, what you're going to lose is the practical application because you're not playing every week or you're not playing in kind of high pressure, high competitive area, events. So you're going to lose that kind of table focus. But if you keep yourself engaged in the actual, the larger narratives of the game, I think, you can stay pretty good, even if you take a few months off.
Yeah. Access of Entry mentions joining or starting a club, but in this scenario, we're assuming, let's say you can't, like, there's been a couple weeks where, like John couldn't come out to play, or
me. I haven't been into the shop in like 3 weeks.
Yeah. So in that regard, because we have a league that basically continuously runs all year.
It's like a week or two in between, basically.
Yeah, we just finished our last one, and the next one's probably not going to start till after SoCal Open.
Congrats on second to Jackson.
Don't get me started on that whole scenario. I know. And I know you do that on purpose.
And Tom won, right?
Asterisk Tom did win.
Yes.
Asterisk. Be nice.
He still gets the prize money.
Hey, man, Tao won something. Let him have
it. He needs the confidence boost for SoCal, especially after Dice Hammer. I just feel like Yoda, like, he just needs to think, like, remember your failure at the cave.
Wow. That sounds a lot more harsh than I think you meant it.
No, I meant it pretty harsh.
About right.
I'm pretty sure it landed the way I wanted it
to. Yeah, Axis, you could play Tabletop Simulator or Vassal, but they are a pain, and the Tabletop Simulator had to remove all of the 40K files.
On Steam.
You can still find them on the dark web or whatever.
On the interwebs, on the tubes.
Yeah. Careful what rabbit holes you go down and things you download off of the sites that hold those things.
Have a dedicated hard drive. We learned this last time.
Nice.
But yeah, so there's Vassal, so there's Tabletop Simulator. Like Danny said, there's the chat you're in. Like our team chat's very active. Mm-hmm. But it still can't replace the like Danny calls it, the ring rust, I think.
Oh yeah, if you're not playing, it's just you're getting a little dull, and there's nothing you can do about it other than to keep playing. And if you can't keep playing because of work, life, whatever, right, then you just have to accept it's going to take you a little bit of time to sharpen back up, and that's okay, right? Like I don't think that's a bad thing. It doesn't mean you're a bad player. It doesn't mean you've given up on the hobby or anything like that. It's just, it's the same with a professional athlete. You get a guy who has to go out on injury for 6 weeks, no matter what he's doing as part of his PT, he's not coming back to top form at the end of that 6 weeks. Right. Like that's just not possible.
Right.
No. So, John, is there anything you would recommend?
Yeah, I mean, I recommend if you have a prolonged period you can't play, you just stay up to date on everything by being involved in something, with even if it's as simple as a team chat. Like, I mean, I don't listen to other 40K podcasts, and I don't watch many battle report videos anymore because too many people do the long form ones now, and I always preferred the short form battle reports. Like everybody basically just streams a game and then uploads the 2.5 hours to YouTube,
Right.
And I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
And if I mean, seriously, like I don't have time to sit and watch 2.5 hours of 40K.
Yeah, that's like 3 episodes of Daredevil.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's the other thing. Like, I don't even watch that much TV. Like, so that whole like idea of like I have 2 or 3 hours of screen time available to me is not a reality. Like, I just don't do that. I have other stuff that I do.
Right.
And then, like, for podcasts, I don't listen to the podcast because when I listen to podcasts, I'm painting. I'm painting or building models. And if that's the case, I'm usually listening to a history podcast or a book on an audiobook on Audible.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I guess I could listen to 40K podcasts, but I don't find them that compelling most of the time because I think that we talk about a lot of stuff that a lot of them talk about, or they're not focused on the stuff I'm interested in.
Right.
Like Forge the Narrative is great. It's an amazing podcast, but I don't listen to it often because they usually are talking about stuff that it doesn't interest me. Like Chris Morgan's on that. He's a friend of ours from LVO.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great guy.
He's one of the other judges. He's a great guy, and that podcast is great if you're looking for a certain thing, and it's not the thing I'm looking for. Which is not everything's for everybody. Like this podcast isn't for everybody.
Right.
Apparently, I'm too bellicose at times for people.
Wounded pride. So.
I don't have a wounded pride. I'm just making jokes. I just find it funny.
You mask it in your jokes.
I don't mask it in my jokes. There are times I mask wounded pride in my jokes, and this is not one of those cases. Definitely not. But then what I like to do is I like to make sure that when I'm coming back from an extended break that I blocked out time specifically to like come back and play. Like I want to make sure that there's a league that starts the first week I know I can be back.
Mm-hmm.
Which is easy for me because I organize the leagues for the most part. so I can make sure that there's a league that pretty much starts when I'm available to come back. And I usually make sure that league is one that's made where you can play multiple games a week.
Right.
So if I want to, I can play like 2 or 3 games, on a Tuesday night and have them all count for the league for everybody, not just myself. It's not like just a selfish thing, but I want to be able to like, if I'm playing 3 games on a Tuesday night, I want it to be able to count for everybody I play.
Right.
Too,
that might actually be the most important part of the downtime is what you do when you come back. Not because it's easy to keep track and keep up to date.
Yeah. It's easy to rules. Read Frontline Gaming articles, read the select few Bella Soul articles that are like relevant to 40K in terms of competition. Like they put out a lot.
None.
No, that's not true. They have several. Like Goat Boys articles are great, right?
So one.
No, there's a couple other ones. I don't know the authors of them, but there's a couple that are good. But like they put out a ton of content on Bella Souls, like a ton of content, and not all of it is relevant to keeping up on things during your off season. But there are ones that are really good. So if you keep it so that you get an update when an article is posted, and the authors that are good for that one, that's a good source. But you can't like check it every day for stuff because it's not going to be every day. You read some Frontline Gaming stuff, listen to podcasts if that's your thing, stay involved in a chat or a Facebook group about it. Read through posted on competitive 40K once a week. Because you really only need to read through them once a week. There's not really new gems every single day in any Facebook group.
Right.
There's not something good every single day. It's hit or miss most days. So I would just if you're already on off season, you're probably already on it because you have limited time anyway. So once a week, sit down and scroll through the stuff and see what's there and just stay up on it. But then, yeah, like we were saying, and Adam was reiterating, you have to block out time for when you come back. It's what you do when you come back that's going to matter.
And how much you do it. Because if you're only going to do one game a week, I know you John did like 2 or 3. I know Carlos, when he was getting ready for Nova, was doing 2 or 3, if not more, games a week just to get those reps in.
Yeah, leading up to Bay Area Open, I played a lot. Like I played a lot of games with my Necrons, and then realized that wasn't going to work. And then I switched to Knights, and I played. Man, I don't even know. I played something like 15 games in 2.5 weeks, maybe.
Yeah,
it was a lot. And there were nights where I played like multiple games, and then the week before Bay Area Open, I lucked out because Natalie took the kids on a vacation earlier than I thought she would, and so there were 2 nights in a row where I went to the store and I just played. I just played and played, and that really helped me prep. So being able to play a lot to prep for your first event back is also going to be a big deal. Unless it's an RTT, in which case just playing as many of those as possible. But if you're like coming off your off season straight into a GT, that's going to be rough unless you really blocked out enough time to practice.
Yep. No, absolutely. Coming back, you can't just like kind of ease back into it. If you really want to kind of catch back up, you got to just kind of jump in whole hog. And, again, I'm a big proponent of the, if you're really trying to get kind of back into things, to play 2 or 3 games of only playing the first 2 rounds and then theory hammering out the rest, right? So you're getting like 3 games in a night rather than 1. Because
a lot of the top players do that. I think Carlos mentioned that too, of just playing like the first 2 turns and then talking out the rest and then re-racking.
I mean, re-racking is important if you don't need to practice the late game. So this is my issue with re-racking, which is not saying I don't do it. I do. I re-rack with Carlos all the time. Like that, I'm not knocking re-racking. What I'm saying is there is a problem if all you do is re-rack.
Yes.
There are certain things in the late game of a game of 40K competitively that only happen in the late game. And you have to be prepared for them. And the only way you can be prepared for certain things in those later rounds of a game of 40K is if you play it out. Like there are things that you have to do, like you have to be, aware of, okay, which secondaries am I going to have to try to negate my opponent from getting?
Yep.
Like you have to be super aware of all the points everybody's racked up. Your primaries, your secondaries. Your opponent's primaries, their secondaries. You have to think through everything that could possibly happen with different models, right? Like what could happen if this happened? What's going to happen if this happens in the late game? So turn 5, if we do these 3 things and then this thing happens and I'm going to have to do this other thing last turn. And that's easy to screw up if you don't ever practice the late game.
Yes.
If you're never sitting down and playing a game all the way through, even if the time runs out, it's still good to play through the end so that you have that experience of down to the wire playing through it. Because I made a big mistake in my game. Again, my game, was it 2 or 3 against recent Hammer of Wrath?
Game 2.
Was it game 2? Where we were in the late game and I made a giant mistake the last turn with 2 units that if I had just been a little bit more aware of, that game would have been mine. Like easy.
Yeah.
Right? No question. That game would have been mine, no problem. And I made 2 giant errors because I was not fully thinking everything through, just thinking, okay, it's the end of the game. All I need to do is this and this. It's going to work out fine. But I didn't think it through far enough to think, okay, but if I do this and this will actually have a better chance of occurring. And you might not get screwed by the dice, because I did get screwed by the dice.
No, I mean, you can't just re-rack. It's a good way to kind of get reps in quickly to kind of, especially because the first deployment and your first 2 movement phases really, really, really impact the game, right? Like they are what ultimately lead to the mid game and then to the late game. But yeah, you have to play full games because it is real easy to lose because you lose in turn 5. You lose track of how many points you're ahead or how many points you're behind, and you start getting tunnel vision on, oh, I just need to kill models, or oh, I just need to get to this objective, and you're not paying attention to what your opponent has to do to beat you.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't think re-racking is bad.
No, it's not. But it's not the only thing you can do. Yeah, it's the same way. You can't just run on a treadmill if you're trying to get into like awesome shape, right? You got to lift weights too, right? Like, or you can't if you want to do anything, you have to do everything that's part of it. It's just if your time is limited and you're really just trying to get a couple of games in to kind of be like, oh wait, that's how I do this, then re-racking is the most efficient way, but that only for a certain amount of time. Then you've got to really start playing full games.
Right.
Well, that's also determined on the situation, the game state at that time, because a lot of times, depending on the army, you can already tell what's going to happen. But if it's like 2 horde armies, it may be, especially if it's like Nurgle and something else that's durable, it may be tough to see where things are going to go because there's things that's still up in the air.
Absolutely. No, I mean, that's a very good point too. And it's also, it depends on the army you're playing. Like, there's plenty of Tyranid lists I have that really don't turn on until turn 3, right? So doing turns 1 and 2 is really only thing it's good at measuring is how good was I at avoiding damage before I actually set up how I'm going to start winning.
Okay.
Which isn't that helpful at the end of the day. Right. I got to see, like, can my army actually win, in turn 3, 4, and 5, as opposed to can I just not lose the game immediately on 1 and 2?
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, like what happened to Jackson that one time.
Oh.
We lost that top of 1, or bottom of 1.
I've done that to somebody before in an RTT, and yeah, that was definitely one of those like, ooh.
Yeah.
I don't think I've done that. At least not in recent memory.
Yeah, I did it a couple RTTs ago that I went to when I got to live the dream of, roll, advance the what's his name? Play against like a quasi Death Star list that's all these points and 2 units that are right next to each other, and then live the dream of Iraduel marches up, advances, I cast the onslaught, it goes off, and then he makes his charge right into both of them and then just, starts tearing them apart.
Right. Access eventually we signed up for the Patreon, so thanks for that. For those of you in the chat who aren't aware, if you join the Patreon, which I'm going to link in the chat right now, you can get into we have a private Facebook group for TFG Radio, and you can we ask you questions about what you'd like us to talk about on the show, and you can ask us questions that we'll answer quicker than if you were to send us a private message or whatever. So
and random memes.
Yeah, random memes and stuff. So if you contribute to the Patreon, you can get into that group and help sculpt the show,
as well as just BS with us. So if you like the tangents, we that's a great place for tangents.
Access of Entropy apparently doesn't like the memes so much, but that's okay.
Well, that's the beauty of the Facebook. You don't have to spend 20 minutes listening to it. You can just be like, this post does not interest me. Scroll on.
Yes.
Oh, my God. All right. So, off-season. Discuss that. So, next, let's talk about chapter approved.
Yes.
So one of the other questions one of the Patreon members asked was what our thoughts are, what we hope to see in the upcoming chapter approved, which should be out in December. I thought the question
was what needs to be in chapter approved to fix Marine armies.
Oh yeah, that was the main question, but we may as well talk about all the other stuff that we think.
Well, I got to gloss over the main question. That's not what they pay for.
I'm going by our show notes, and the show notes just say chapter approved.
Because somebody in the pre-show meeting was like, I'm just going to write chapter approved.
Well, yeah, because you want me to write all this stuff, and
I'm just doing my Ron Burgundy.
To be there in the corner, and people want to.
I'm just doing my Ron Burgundy and just reading the teleprompter as is.
I can't cover up me or the memes with too much text about the show.
You have a meme that, especially because you have a meme that's white and you have white text.
Yes. Well, you know what? When you start making quality memes, you can complain.
I can complain. I helped you. I helped birth one of your best.
You did, and it was a good one. Yeah.
So chapter approved. And
My
Marines.
spirit animal's on the screen right now, by the way.
Yeah.
Just
A
saying.
bearded pirate?
No,
That's
the
what I
goat.
see.
Smug
No.
goat.
Smug baby goat.
Smug baby goat.
So the question was regarding Marine and how chapter approved can make them better. Or can they? I mean, how much?
Yeah, you can.
How many more points can you lower it?
Yeah,
It's
I think
not-
they need more love than just points being lowered. There's, yeah, I don't know how you fix Marines.
My theory would be, you have to lower the points of tax squads, right? More than anything.
Lower the
But
point of
it's-
every single thing in the codex by at least 5.
Yeah. Well, really, a big thing is they have to get away from the standardization of a heavy bolter always costs this. Like tax squads should be able to take their heavy weapons at a really reduced cost.
Yeah, they should go back to the 5th edition mechanic where some things are free.
Yeah.
Like
Right. Like
flamers free, melted guns free, heavy bolters free, missile launcher free. You want a las cannon and everything? Okay, well you got to pay some points, but not quite the same as you had to pay for a Devastator squad.
right. Yeah, like a Devastator squad buying a 25-point las cannon is very different than a 10-man tax squad buying a las cannon.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that would really help them because then you could do more of like the Gilliman Horde list where you actually do have special weapons and they're even harder to kind of get rid of because instead of only having to kill 2 models to start picking off las cannons from a Devastator squad, you have to pick off 8, 9 models.
Right.
Right. I think that would really help them. I think that would help quite a bit. The Primaris stuff needs to be cheaper by far, and there's probably they could use some extra, like the chapter tactics for basically everybody needs to get a little better.
I mean, I think that the basic problem with Marines is they're phasing out regular Marines, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And basically, the entire range is going to be Primaris at some point, and so so they have to figure out a way to get people to stop playing Marines.
Well, they're doing a good job
because
scouts.
it's your flagship, right? Like that's your flag. That was your flagship for forever, and everybody's got a Marine army someplace. So you have to get them to stop playing it, so they're no longer attached to it. So the nerd rage isn't as potent when you actually pull the trigger and get rid of the primary, or you get rid of the regular Marines.
Yeah, that's true.
And like Primaris Marines need to transport. Like
oh god, yes.
Other than the 400.1.
Yes, the fact that Primaris Marines can't go in a Rhino is stupid.
Mm-hmm. They're too big.
Just you know what? No, they're not too big. They can. Crouch.
I remember
Have you ever seen like the inside of an actual armored personnel carrier?
Yes, they're not exactly spacious.
You are packed in there like sardines with your knees in your chest. Like just ask a veteran who's had to ride in one. Like it's not comfortable. You're not standing up. Like the Primaris Marine can fold his legs up just like anybody else and get his fat ass in the Rhino. Like maybe a Rhino can only hold 5.
Sure.
Okay, not 10. Fine, you can only hold 5. But like there needs to be some way of getting it. Or drop pods. For God's sake, let the Primaris Marines ride in a drop pod. And then, reduce the cost of a drop pod to 0. Because that's the only way anybody's ever going to take one.
No, you can. Again, a nice change would be drop pods get to ignore the beta rules and always get to come in wherever they want turn 1.
Yeah, if I was going to wish list chapter approved changes to save Marine armies, which I don't think is going to be the case because it's going to be too many things you have to do, and they're just going to wait for the next round of codexes, or they're going to put out Primaris codexes for, like they're going to put out Space Marine Primaris codex, and then like give it a transport and like whatever. But if I'm going to wish list it, the way you would fix Marines is everything needs a point drop. Everything. There's not a single unit that doesn't need one. Then you need to allow Primaris Marines to ride in transports.
Yes.
The drop pod needs to ignore the reserve rules.
Yes.
The new all of them, the beta rules, whatever, it doesn't matter. All restrictions for things associated with the drop pods gone, with perhaps the exception of a first turn charge.
Right.
Maybe
Yeah,
you
you can
still
just have
leave
it.
that
They
restriction.
can't charge if they get out. Right. Like the turn they come out, they can't charge, but they can kind of deploy where they want.
Yeah, right. And it should be across the board for all Marine armies.
Mm-hmm.
Everything gets a basic point drop, and like we were saying, tactical squad weapons are free or extremely discounted, according as opposed to like what it would be to take it in a stern guard squad or a command squad. That's not a thing anymore, is it? A veteran squad or
I don't think it is.
or a devastator squad. Like you have to do something to reduce the points, fix drop pods, fix Primaris Marines not being able to get anywhere, and then you're not going to end up doing that because then people will play Marines again.
Right.
And they want them to not play Marines so they can get rid of them.
So they may just keep it the same and drop the Primaris points.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
If you can get it back to where you can effectively field, sorry to interrupt, but if you can get it back to where you can effectively field an actual battle company again, in terms of number of Marines, that would be not bad.
Right.
Like, because right now you couldn't run 60 tactical Marines with like Gilliman, because that's what you would need really to run them effectively anyways, because it's too many points. They'd have to be like bare bones bolters only.
Right, which is just not good enough.
No, like you used to be able to run close to 100 Marines in 7th edition and you know the whatever the hell that thing was called that everybody ran. What was that formation?
Battle company.
The battle company, right? Everybody ran a battle company. I mean, I ran one. I can't remember the name of it, but I ran one. You know, you could run a ton of models in a battle company, and it was good. But that's because some of the stuff was free.
Right, because you weren't playing 2,000 points. You were playing 2,500.
Yes. Yeah, but it was fine. Nobody minded, right? It
Sure.
wasn't like playing against triple riptides on every table with a Wraith Knight or two.
Didn't Battle Company predate all of that? And didn't Battle Company start to die once Trip Riptide came out?
Stop. You're ruining my narrative. I'm trying to forge a new narrative.
Yeah.
That wasn't a knock against the podcast, by the way. Since I was talking about them earlier, that was not a knock against that podcast. That was a knock
Just for clarity.
That was a knock against GW using that term for clarity's purposes.
Yeah, it's because even in the fluff, if you read Dark Imperium, that they mention there's a scene where Guilliman talks about basically phasing out, or if one of the Primaris Marines knows that the regular Marines are being phased out.
No, it was it was a Chaos Marine.
Was it? I don't know.
It was like
whatever.
a dying Chaos Marine who's like looks up at them and is like, I remember the Thunder Warriors or something like that. And everybody's like, what's a Thunder Warrior? And he's like, Thunder Warrior was you. You're on your way out. The Emperor got rid of them. Gilliman will get rid of you.
Yeah.
And like it was like, I've seen it all and I see what's coming. It was like a dying Iron Warrior or something, if I remember correctly.
I mean, they definitely set that up even in the fluff of like the idea of like the Blood Angels are without the Primaris. There's barely any of them left, right? You know, the Space Wolves don't have a planet anymore, right? Like, you know, without the Primaris, these
was Fenris actually
dead.
Destroyed, or was it just really fought over?
No, one of the other planets was destroyed.
Yeah, Fenris itself was destroyed, but the Fang got messed up.
Yeah.
I thought Fenris got pretty wrecked, but no, it's not like Cadia, which is just gone.
Right. Pour one out for Cadia.
Yeah, exactly. No. The planet broke before they did.
Oh God, they got what they deserved.
The planet broke before the guard, or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm in on that theory or that conspiracy of the phasing out.
Oh, I mean, just think of it this way: how many since Primaris has there been any new? I mean, really, for how long has there been since there's been a new normal Space Marine kit?
No,
there hasn't. Not since 8th.
Not even Space Wolves. Like Wolfen was 7th. The Primaris kits, Thunder Wolves already existed.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, he's talking about like even for the starter set.
Yeah,
There's
no,
been
it's all Primaris. Yeah,
it's all Primaris.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's all Primaris, and then
Dark Angels came out.
Baseball Scout,
No new Azrael.
Wolfen. Yeah,
I mean, I bet Azrael gets the Primaris treatment when they make the leap. They probably just give Azrael they either kill him off, or they give him because they'll put out the Lion, or they give him the Primaris treatment because they already set up that any regular Space Marine can just become a Primaris.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, if you wanted Space Marines to be accurately represented in size on the tabletop, the only way you were ever going to get true scale Marines was for them to do either say, okay, we're going to shift the entire range over to this and it's true scale Marines, and all these Marines are now out, or you use the fluff and you create a new set of Marines that are bigger.
Right. Yep.
And already the Chaos models are all bigger than regular Space Marines.
Yeah, the Death Guard models are.
And the Thousand Sons.
They're beefy.
Thousand Sons
the
are bigger
bigger too. So we'll have to see what the new Chaos models look like in the Blackstone Fortress box when that comes out.
Right. That'll be a
Game or whatever it is. Who cares? Nobody cares because we're just going to want them.
What's a Blackstone Fortress game?
That's the new. It's kind of like Silver Tower. It's a board game like Warhammer Quest.
Yeah, it's a 40K version, so it'll be a bunch of cool new models.
But are they going to have normal bases, or is it going to be like
no, it'll be normal bases
where the models aren't on regular basis?
No, it'll be normal bases like Silver Tower was.
You'll be like Silver Tower, yeah.
Cool. Sounds good.
So we'll get a bunch of new Chaos models, and we don't know when it's out. There haven't been really much talk about Blackstone Fortress since they announced it.
No, they've been focusing on the new Shadespire box.
Mm-hmm. And October.
October. Kill
There's
Team.
There's been a lot of orcs in October so far.
Kill Team Tober.
Yeah, much Kill Team. Which I'm not mad about, but it is a little weird of like...
None of it bothers me.
Kill Team's been out for a couple of months, and it's already going to have 2 expansions.
Yeah, then the Commanders, the repackaged Commanders.
Yeah, Commanders, and then you have the Euclidean Starstriders, right? And that's like an expansion. It's not like, oh, here's a different version. It's like, here's an expansion to the rules.
Yeah.
Right. And Commanders are an expansion to the rules.
People shouldn't complain so much about, like, they're actually putting stuff out a lot.
Oh, yeah.
It used to be months before they would put anything out for anything. Like, you had to wait 4 months before you got new GW anything, new 40K anything. They put all kinds of stuff. Stop your complaining. I remember Pepper's Farm remembers. Pepper's Farm remembers when there were no model releases. That you would get a new you'd wait 3 years for a new codex, and you wouldn't get any new models along with the codex.
Yeah, you'd wait a whole edition.
Yes,
a whole edition would pass before you'd get a codex. Yeah.
So keep batting down the hatches there and keep your salt mines to yourselves. Don't be so bellicose about everything.
Oh my god,
that's my new favorite word.
I know it is.
I've been using it a lot.
I'm sure you have. I'm sure you're telling your students that all the time.
No, but I should.
Do you think they'll do it? Do you think they'll do enough with Necrons to?
Doubt it.
Again, they'll get point drop, but it's not just the point drop with Necrons. It's the Space Marine problem. Like, they need more than just the point drop. Now, the point drop would make it a lot better. Like, you would go from an F army, if we're going to use the A, B, C, D, F grading scale, you'd go from an F. No, I think that if you just drop the points on some of the stuff well enough, particularly warriors, and if you gave the pipe dream to Necron players and fixed reanimation protocols. So
they're not going to do that.
They're not. I understand. If you just did point adjustments, you go from an F to like a C something, like a C, C+, right? If you
I think that's generous, but
it probably is. It probably is. I think C range is probably fine. Like, I don't think they're going to stay in the D, especially if what you drop are warriors and immortals costs. The troops costs,
they need to be way cheaper
so that you can actually take battalions.
Yes, and they also need just new stratagems. They need their stratagems reworked to actually be worth spending CPs on.
If you're running Necron Soup, because you can use all the stratagems you for no matter what. Like, if you do it the way Chad Layton does it, Chad's been playing Necrons as a soup for a long, since the Codex came out. He doesn't take a dynasty trait, so he just takes all the best units for the best dynasty stratagems, because you can still use the stratagem. So if everything just dropped in points and now you have more CPs, then you can still use those really good stratagems. But Pipe Dream, if they could also either give them some more stratagems, which that one they're definitely not going to do in chapter approved, as far as I can tell. But if you were to fix reanimation protocols in chapter approved, give them a brand new reanimation protocol rule, totally reworded, allowing them to roll for reanimation protocols like at the end of the phase, right? At the end of your opponent's shooting phase and assault phase, you roll for reanimation protocols. That would work just fine, right? That would help out a lot. Then you'd go to a solid like B, right? But like otherwise, yeah, I don't think there's enough you can do for him.
That sounds like a lot.
Yeah. It is a lot. That's why I don't think it's going to happen.
Historically, we only have one to go off of. In that one, they only adjusted points. They didn't really. I can't remember them adjusting rules. So I don't know if they'll do that.
If they did, it wasn't anything like, oh my god.
Yeah.
It was more the beta rules that came out in chapter approved that were like, what the hell?
Yes.
I mean, the thing is, though, if we look at like what makes a good codex, right? Like what makes a codex actually like in the B to A range, and you need cheap and or really, really, really effective troop choices, so you can actually build battalions and get CPs,
which neither warriors or immortals are.
Yeah, you need good stratagems, right? Stratagems that you can even build army design off of, right? Either deployment tricks, like, super efficiency with shooting, melee, movement, something. You need to be able to play, or at least can make an impact in all four major phases of the game, right? Which Necrons can't do because they don't have a psychic phase. Right. And then you need durability of some variety, whether that's lots of negative stacking, good invulnerable saves, or a way to keep your strongest units from getting hurt, like the first turn or 2 turns of the game. And Necrons kind of have that, maybe if their reanimation protocols go off, but that's, not a huge guarantee. Right? Like, so it's just one of those things, like, that's kind of what you need to be a good codex, especially if you're a standalone one like Necrons who have no allies. Right? Like, it's fine if Necrons existed in Imperium, where you're like, oh, I need CPs. Fuck yeah, let me just get some, let me just get some guard in here, and then I'll have my destroyer cult. Like,
yes.
But when you're a standalone codex, like, oh man, you have to do all of that stuff, and that's just really hard.
Because orcs and Tyranids have at least cost troop choices if they wanna go brigade.
Right.
Necrons don't. Eldar kind of do. I think Dark Eldar. I think Dark Eldar troops are fairly cheap compared to.
Oh yeah, warrior squads are like nothing.
Yeah, I think every except for Grey Knights, and we don't count Grey Knights because Grey Knights is not a thing. Not yet. Hopefully, they'll get fixed also in the chapter approved again. Except for Grey Knights, I think every other army, if it were to do standalone, has fairly cheap troop choices.
Yeah. Space Wolves, kind of. I mean, they don't get scouts.
They have the Marine problem. Also, on top of everything.
Well, yeah. So you maybe, but I don't know how many points Blood Claw. How many Blood Claw's regular point cost for Space Marine?
I don't know. I'll look it up.
I mean, if they are, then they have the same problem. But I think even then, you can still, unless you have to take 10. Oh, you have to take like 10 or 15, don't you?
I don't
you have to take a bigger squad of them. It's
I think you have to take Grey Hunters if you. I think you have to take Grey Hunters if you want a cheap troop choice.
Yeah,
because everyone else just uses regular scouts.
Do I not have the Space Wolf Codex on here?
I don't know. Do you?
I don't. Wow, I'm looking at my codices in my binder or my folder in my hard drive. I don't have it. Okay, let me go get it.
Hold on. Let me just open up my phone here.
Oh my. Okay, let me open up mine since we're
My
all doing that at
computer
the
is
same time.
faster than your phone.
Here we go.
Maybe.
Well, yeah, probably because I opened up the wrong Gmail account. That's not gonna happen.
There we go. There's Space Wolves.
Okay, you got it.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Always quality.
Blood Claws. Oh, you only have to take 5 Blood Claws. So
Yeah,
How many
how many
points?
points each?
let me get that. There's technically the same power level as Grey Hunters, so that's not all that helpful.
So, 15 or whatever.
Yeah, they still 15 points. So you're 70. Yeah, 75 points, I think.
Yeah, let's see here. Blood Claws are 13. Grey Hunters are 13 apiece.
Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Marine problem.
Yeah, but that's still cheaper than Warriors or because the Warriors squad.
Warriors are. Yeah, because Warriors you have
11 points, and you have to take 10 of
Warriors
them.
are 12. They're 12, so you have to take 10 of them.
120 compared to they're like double the price.
No, they are. It's again just I don't think GW really understood how much soup is a thing, right? And that like Necrons, Orcs, Tyranids, the standalone Xenos armies, just by design, their codexes have to be a bit more powerful than everybody else's because they can't soup.
Right.
Right. Like it's just, especially Necrons who have no allies at all. Right. Like Tyranids at least get Genestealer Cult, and then if they keep that rule, Asher Militarum. Right. And Orcs are that's such a huge range that, they can probably get by. But Necrons, it's just like they got nothing. They get no help, and they got a relatively small codex.
Yeah, in terms of number of units, they don't have as many as some of the ones.
Yeah, and it's just, again, it's like you have to have troop choices that you want to take, right, for some reason. Like Scouts, even though Scouts are the cheapest, they're also the best because they offer you board control. Why wouldn't you take them, right? Tyranids, like pretty much all of our troops but Warriors are good and can be used in a competitive environment to good effect. Right, like Orcs, boys are great, like they're cheap and they kick ass.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll see. We'll see if they do anything. I think we're just wish listing, like John mentioned earlier about a lot of this stuff. So
I think we'll mostly see point drops. I mean, although we might see more rules just because Chapter Approved will have the Sisters Beta Codex.
That's the other thing. I mean, you said you're gonna basically play them out. I don't know how.
Oh, that's.
I think that the beta rules for Sisters being in there means it's less likely that anybody else gets a big rules dump of any kind other than points adjustments, because it's already going to be a book with a lot of stuff in it based around Sisters, like the beta codex. So
it's almost going to be like a codex inside.
Yeah, and the chapter approved book, the first one wasn't that big.
Right.
No, it wasn't.
So you're already going to have this beta codex in there. How much are they really going to pour into the other factions in terms of rules?
No, I mean, I don't anticipate a lot of rule changes. I think it's just going to be, it's going to be point adjustments, and I don't know how you make Necrons better by just making them cheaper, because their structural flaws still exist. Unless Warriors became like freaking 5 points each. And then maybe we could see something, because then Warrior spam actually becomes viable, right? Because it's cheap enough to just flood the board with them, and then just, with the reanimation protocols, it just becomes like, damn, I have to kill 140 of these assholes.
Yeah. I played games with 100 Warriors.
Right.
And it was not as difficult to get through as you think, simply because the reanimation protocols you can get around them pretty easily. Right. So, and then if you want to up the reanimation protocols, you're spending CPs, or you're burning your once a game orb,
right?
Which you really want to save for a unit that's better than Warriors. Like, you don't really want to use your orb on it. So I don't know.
Right.
So, Axis of Entropy mentioned something that apparently Jeff Robinson said, which was that there will be a big change in match play, or basically a new way to play competitive format.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, he hinted at something. He wasn't like he didn't come straight out and say that, but yeah, he
Yeah.
hinted at it.
I mean, who knows? Hopefully, there's something in there. It doesn't. From my experience from playing other games, other game systems, and other companies, um, it doesn't take a lot to. It's just like a paragraph. It's not. You don't need like 10 pages to change something. It's not. So for them, I can see them doing that at some point. If not
Right.
this year, they're more. It looks like they're more willing to make changes, as we've seen the last few FAQs. Um, whether you consider it reactionary or not, that's up to each person to decide. But
Right.
but the fact that they're willing to do that, and make the changes, and sometimes make them back, or shows that they're willing to change their game. And if we go with the same cycle as Age of Sigmar, which was 3 years, or you could say 2 years since General's Handbook, and they went to 2.0, we could be seeing a new edition, or 40K 8th edition 2.0 in the next year or two. It could be as early
Right.
as next year. It could be as next couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No.
So because the more they do this, the more everything's sure where you find the information. They're gonna have to consolidate it eventually.
I mean, that's the thing, though. I mean, yeah, I remember. I think it was Reese, but someone said like Games Workshop was trying to like make 8th edition like no more editions. Right? There's just 40K. And if that's the case, then it's just every few years they're going to have to do 8.2, 8.1, whatever, where
Right.
they condense everything into one tome, because otherwise it just becomes impossible to keep track of everything when you've got like, well, I got to look at chapter approved 2000,
Yeah.
the current chapter approved. I got to look at this book. I got to look at that book. I got to check this FAQ. I got to check how that lines up with the FAQ from before. What are the new beta rules? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and I don't think I don't even think they call it 8th edition. We do.
Yeah, they just call it 40K.
Yeah. Just like this is the first time they referred to Age of Sigmar as 2.0.
Right.
So, but they don't even call it second edition. They call it 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't. So if they do change it, they'll just probably call it 40K 2.0 or something like that. It's like reminds me when they renumber comic books.
Hmm.
So Danny, you said you're going to play Sisters when the Sisters Codex come out.
It's either that or orcs. So I have to decide where to.
Well, we
as
don't
my
have
kid-
Adrian with us anymore.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, that's the thing. Is just with having to put my kid in preschool starting next year. I don't necessarily have tons of hobby cash lying around, so I get one. I can get one more army, and I got to figure out what that's going to be. Orcs is cool, and honestly, probably easier to get. Sisters is going to be a lot of kit bashing with like Sisters of Silence and stuff like that, because it's way too expensive to try and get the metal models.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to decide. I mean, there'll be enough orc players, but that doesn't help me any.
There'll be enough orc players in the beginning, but
Yeah, who knows? We'll stick around, but we don't have a dedicated Sisters player anymore because Adrian had to go back to France, right?
Yeah, make a living, family, start a family, dumb stuff.
Cuddle Bunny 455, which is a great name, wants to know what clan of orcs Danny plays.
What did you play when you played them, Danny?
Oh, I played Goths.
I played like I mentioned before. I played Death Skulls.
Yeah,
played,
I was all about the
orcs in
Goths.
5th, where your clan did not matter.
Yeah, where clans cease to exist. Yeah,
Although I painted checkers on them. Which one was that one? That was Goths.
That's Goth.
Black. If it's black, it was
Black
Goth.
and white checkers, yeah.
Yeah,
That's Goth. The biggest and the meanest. Come on.
But I always made sure to put red on my vehicles.
Well, yeah, that makes them go faster.
Yep. Hey, that +1 to move your move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know that was great.
Yeah,
back
5th edition red paint job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I was debating Sisters because I'm liking what I see so far from the reveals. But I personally would probably wait until I would either proxy or just wait until the codex is actually out or the models are out at the very least.
Yeah, well, God knows I can proxy. I have enough Sisters of Silence from a failed 30K army that I could make it work to some extent.
Yeah, and that they're like a template for what, and you can almost not tell the difference except for the shaved heads.
Yeah, and I think the biggest probably model difference is I'm sure the Sisters won't have, or the Sisters of Battle won't have cloaks. They'll have actual backpacks. So
Yeah,
I bet if you took off the cloaks and just put on a backpack, they'd look pretty similar.
yeah. I mean, at least for purposes in terms of playing the beta.
Yeah. So we'll have to see. I have to make that decision. So people can, maybe I'll put it on TFG off the rails and see what the listeners demand.
See what the listeners demand.
Got to give the people what they want.
There's a reason to join the Patreon and get into that group so you can tell Danny what army
Tell
to play
Danny
next.
what the
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. My last hurrah for a while.
Yeah.
Till I win that Powerball, baby. Wait, no, that's not going to happen.
What? I just bought $100 worth of ticket for that.
Ooh, sucker in the house.
I did not. I saw someone do that, and I'm like, you really? I thought to myself, you should probably not spend that $100 because you look like you really need it.
I mean, let's be real. I'm gonna buy $20 worth because I bought that last time. Like I bought that for Tuesdays. I'm gonna buy that for tomorrow's because it's tomorrow, right?
Yeah, it's tomorrow.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna go and spend money that I don't have or shouldn't spend on Mega Millions.
I'm going to buy a ticket as basically to use the change when I buy like 2 packs of cigarettes. So that's what I do every time the lottery's up. Yeah, exactly. It's like, just give me one quick pick.
I usually get just
a couple of quarters.
Like I get the 5 quick pick. It's not that good. You know, it's serious when my wife tells me to buy because she does not like usually me buying the lotto stuff. So I think that's going to be it. Anything else? If anybody on the chat wants to mention anything or have a
open forum here,
we're open forum time. Anything else coming up? I am currently building, other than building Danny's bloodletters, I am also building my Deathwatch army. So that will be army number 3.
Only 2 more to go.
And then my last one will be the orcs.
Sounds about right.
Cool.
So I'll probably punish myself and do a mob of orcs as opposed to doing speed freaks and canwall, because that would make things a lot easier. Unless we're counting non 40K armies. If that's the case, I've passed that.
You passed that a long time ago.
Because I have my Easterlings for Lord of the Rings. I buckled and bought a bunch of Japanese for Flames of War. And I think I have one more, but
Saga.
I bought the books. I haven't bought a band yet.
All right, fair enough.
What factions are going to take the top 5 at the next GT? So it's SoCal Open. Factions in the top 5.
I'm playing
Ynnari.
Knights. So Knights.
I think Ynnari and Eldari and Drukari
and Asurani.
Yeah. Yeah. So at least
Knights.
At least 2 or 3 pointy-eared factions.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think Knights make it into the top 5.
Top 5? Maybe top 10.
Maybe top 10. Astra Militarum might get back in there. And I could see
Custodes, maybe.
Yeah, Custodes could make it back in now with Knights not being as good because the Knights were a good counter to Custodes too. The Gallants just tore through those guys.
Oh,
The Lance just made them die and cry in shame.
Yeah. Yeah, because if they just failed a save, they're gone.
I don't know if Jeff Robinson's playing at it.
I don't know.
If he is, I give him odds-on favorite to win the whole thing.
With his Custodes?
Yeah. I mean, he was right there to win the Bay Area Open with all those Knights.
Yeah.
And they were in their prime.
Don Husin is going. There's a couple out-of-towners coming.
Yeah. Don's probably got a good chance.
Nick Rose is coming. I know that much.
That's a good one.
Yeah, he'd be a good one. Death Guard would be good too. A good choice for top 5.
I'll go top 5. I'll say 2 Eldar of some variety, 1 Chaos, 1 Imperial, and I think Nick Rose will be up there with his Gene Stealer cult.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was coming. He could be up there too.
If he shows, if he shows up. I know Reese mentioned he's coming, but we'll see if he shows up. There's another one.
I have to do it. Top 5: Dylon, 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 and Dylon. Because I spit out fire.
Okay,
That's just too. It was. You can't resist that easy of a law, a reference.
yeah.
Come on, just can't.
Cuddle Bunny, I'll probably do Death Skulls. It'll make painting the orcs a lot easier.
Beer of fraud. Cool. What would push Death Guard to the top 5? Don Husin.
Yeah, it's Don Husin piloting Death Guard. If it's anybody else, no. Although Chaos could be like Richard Kozar. He's been bridesmaid for about 3 or 4 tournaments.
He's been in the top 5 in a bunch of them, so like there's definitely the possibility that his Chaos Soup list gets in there, his Demon Soup.
Yeah.
But what would push Death Guard into the top is just the fact that it's Don Husin.
Yeah.
Mr. Inquisitor asks, what do you guys think will be revealed at the open day on November 3rd, 4th for the planet we're all fighting for now? Open day is at Games Workshop, and there's I think it's I want to say but just that I don't want to say it wrong because it'll sound like feminine product. That the planet that's the core that Tooth and Claw takes place on.
Vigilus.
Yes. I think it has to do with that. I'm going to say Imperial wins because they're strong right now. Soup is strong. Soup is still good. Even with the nerf.
Yeah, I'm not up to date enough on any of that stuff to have an opinion.
But I think they're going to have a couple things revealed in terms of like their seminar.
Mm-hmm.
If they do,
Sisters, another Sisters update.
It'll be a Sisters update, and maybe something for Gene Stealer Cult.
Yeah, maybe Yanari too.
You guys in Yanari all die off and are now out of the fluff, and so you can't play them anymore. Perfect.
What I've heard is that it won't be until Yanari won't be for a while.
Till Q1, if not later.
With my very limited knowledge of anything going on, I'm going to say Tooth and Claw because I'm agreeing with you, and then a Blackstone Fortress comes up and vaporizes everybody. Because you mentioned that there's a Blackstone Fortress game, so why not?
But the game may be just a reenactment of what happened to the Blackstone Fortress on Cadia.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it has to do with the game. I'm saying that because they have this game and that was Tooth and Claw, then they'll have the Vigilus thingy, and then the Blackstone Fortress shows up and kills everybody.
I think Abaddon still has one more.
Right. He's got 2.
Well, one died killing Cadia, so.
Oh, it actually like blew up the Blackstone Fortress?
Yeah, it crashed into the planet.
Nice.
Yeah, that's how Abaddon won.
He went full, it is a good day to die.
Well, whoever was in the Blackstone Fortress did it. It was the Space Wolves. No, was it Angron?
It was the Space Wolves and the Imperial Fist, because the Imperial Fist brought I forget the name of their super ship, but it's basically like an Imperial Blackstone Fortress. Phalanx. So Phalanx really fucked it up, and then the Space Wolves on the suicide mission inside finished it off.
Nice.
Or they weakened the shielding or whatever or the hull that allowed the Phalanx to cripple it.
Right. That makes sense.
And Wake the Dead take place at whatever that thing is.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Imperial Agents book. We'll see. Hopefully there's something.
Yeah. Then I'd actually have an Imperium army.
There'd be something in the chapter approved, because I think you do it then.
I mean, that'd be great if they actually put in something of like, hey, let's give some of these units give them a keyword to get to share so they can actually build battalions and shit. Right, because it's just one of those things of like, I get it, you don't want super soup, but like, I really don't think Inquisition with acolytes as troops with some, assassins thrown in there for the elites is going to be all that fucking broken.
I just need to play
just
in
give me something.
I just need to play in like 3 games with that, and I get best Inquisitor faction for ITC. Why gotta ruin that for me?
I wanted to get best assassin and just play every game 500 points down.
If you look on there, I don't know if it's assassin, Inquisitor, one of them. All the players have only played 1 game with that army. So all you got to do is play 2 games, and you'll win that faction.
I might have to do that the next RTT.
John, Cuddle Buddy wants to know what makes elves so good. Why are they allowed to be so good?
Poor rules writing.
Damn. Just cutting to it.
I mean, seriously, that's the only reason Inari are good is they refuse to fix the problems with them.
Well, they don't refuse. They've tried to fix it every time.
Yeah.
Okay, but they're refusing to do it in an effective manner by just
Soulburst used to be better.
Yeah, remember?
Just remove index options.
That helped a lot.
I wish they would do that just for across the board.
Yeah.
At least on the competitive level.
No, I mean,
on the competitive
Eldar
side.
are good
Again,
because
for match
Eldar
play.
get like all the greatest stuff in the rules. Like they get all the minuses to hit. They get
Yeah, they get to keep their chapter tactics.
Yeah, and they get all the exceptions possible. Like we're gonna make it so that you can't move over models to assault, but when you soul burst, you can still jump over stuff, so you can still get close to stuff and then assault. Like every time they get like a little miniature Christmas every time they change something.
Well, again, Eldar have this thing of, as part of just their design concept, because they're the elder race and blah blah blah. Is they get to be good at everything, and if you're good at every phase of the game, you're going to be a good codex.
Yeah, they dominate movement, they dominate psychic phase, they dominate the shooting phase, they can dominate the assault phase, they dominate the weird consolidation after assault phase.
Yeah,
they get their own interesting soul burst phase.
Right.
So it's like they literally can dominate whatever phase of the game they want.
Yeah, if not all 4 of them. Yeah, that's why the Inari list is good, because you've got
that dominate every phase. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the standard Inari list is good because it's like it shoots you to crap. It has a really hard melee unit that you have to deal with. Right. It's super fast, super movement tricky, and has a ton of psychic dice. Right, and it's gonna buff itself and it's gonna debuff you. So it's like, have fun with that.
Yeah, I think the Eldar Codex on its own is not overpowering, but I think combined with the Inari is what really puts it over the top. And they've tried multiple times at this point, and each time it makes it a little bit weaker, but it's still good.
Well, again, it's still not really. Every army for the most part, that has actual codex has stratagems for like 1 unit can fight again or 1 unit can shoot again to a certain limit, right? But Inari get to do that every turn, like get someone to fight again, get someone to move again, get someone to shoot again, and they don't spend any CPs to do it.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they'll have a fix for it. It's what we got now. So,
well, Jeff actually, and I think I saw him post something, but he had a good point of like, there's no reason that Shining Spears should cost the same in Ynnari as they do in just Craft Worlds, right? Like they're just so much better in Ynnari.
So, like with the weapons, like what John was talking about with the weapons, they should split the cost depending what.
Really, the Ynnari
or not split the cost, but have two values.
Right. If you're taking in Ynnari, then there's going to be a points increase because they have access to just a better. Right. Mm-hmm. So now they're paying points for that efficiency as rather it being free, which tones them down quite a bit.
Well, you'd have to do that with all the units.
Yeah, but that's fine.
But I mean, the Shining Spears are the ones we see the most. But
so you just give Ynnari their own book,
basically, yeah. Which is that's
and you don't just make it a cut and paste. You give them an actual book that's like actually tried to balance it. Just do a cut and paste job.
Yep.
Well, we'll see. I mean, hopefully, we'll see a beta codex fairly soon, or at the announcement. Cool. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's what they'll announce at the open day. Or
again, with the beta Ynnari test go,
and John's the tester.
No.
I would love that. See, that's what I feel like they need to do. Like, they need to have, when they're doing like the, play testers, they need to have people who are diehard fanatics playing it, who know the fluff, know the history. They need to have really hardcore competitive players who know how to break it. And they need players who hate the faction and are actively looking to make it worse. Right? So they just get a nice mix of perspectives.
Okay.
Well, not because they fit in just fine, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. So I would, if I had that choice, I'd definitely put John in there to play test. Just because I know he would give so much salt and hate that it would help us identify as like, damn, this actually is broken.
Coda Bunny asks about if we'll see competitively priced power armor. Wow.
No, power armor's on the way out.
Well, certain power armor.
Primaris might get cheaper.
Primaris don't have power armor. They have Primaris armor, right?
I don't know. I think it's power armor.
It's power armor Mark whatever.
It's
the Mark.
Yeah, Mark 10.
9 or 10 or whatever, yeah. No, I don't think you will see competitively priced power armor at all. I don't think we'll see any significant changes to Space Marine armies at all.
And our theory on that is because they're basically phasing out Marines.
I would like to point out your guys' theory.
Sure.
I think so too.
If they do anything to Marines at all in Chapter Approved, I think that they will do something to help Primaris Marines.
Right.
Not
like across the board.
Space Marines.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Well,
yeah, I think after reading the fluff, reading the Dark Imperium and the stuff after Fall Acadia,
the Codex.
Yeah, you can tell there's a shift fluff wise, story wise, of phasing out the old
models.
The old models, yes. Like John said, they did it to Thunder Warriors.
Yeah.
Element's going to do it to regular Marines.
What is that throwaway line in Star Wars of like, I heard they're finally discontinuing the T-88s or whatever. Oh, it's about time.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what's on the horizon. I mean, I could see that. I don't know if they'd actually do it because that seems...
Sure. I don't know if they'll do it like en masse. I think they'll do it like with Blood Angels. Oh, everyone got almost wiped out. We have to replace them with Primaris. Oh, this, he's already replaced a lot of them in the story anyway, and created a whole new one.
Yeah.
So that's just what's going to happen. I think we don't have a timetable.
No. If they're smart, if that actually is what's happening, if they're smart, they're going to take their sweet time to do it just to cut down on the Age of Sigmar, issue.
Well, if they take the same timeline they are with the Horus Heresy, then we'll be years before we may be dead by the time it happens. So,
although that's the thing, what would be funny is, speaking of that, is if all the old Marines basically just become like, these are for 30K. You can still play them. You should play 30K. 40K is Primaris Marines.
No, they would make them almost like either the cleansing, which happened right after Horus Heresy, or like a few thousand or a few hundred years later with the chapters. Mr. Inquisitor asked Lanesh first army of 2019 ? The Wrath and Rapture, is that what it's called, Danny?
Yeah, Wrath and Rapture.
That is, I think, supposedly that's an Age of Sigmar box set with Khorne and Slanesh. We've already seen the Fiend.
Right.
I don't know if it'll be 2019. I think the earliest would be like December.
Yeah,
maybe, or first quarter.
It's going to be quarter one at least.
I'll probably end up building a Slanesh demon army. Since I already have, especially if they come out with the new Keeper of Secrets.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I mean, I have the one for Forge World, and I have a bunch of demonettes. I have a bunch of flesh hounds, Steeds of Slanesh, and the riders. So I just need to buy more demonettes. Slanuary, yes, that's what it's going to be.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
They'll wait to the very end of the month to release anything. Okay, on that, I think we'll call it a night. Thanks again for listening. John, thank you for hosting again.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Danny, thank you for joining us again. I know we don't get you on enough.
Yeah, that's all right. Discord's always driving to Pasadena. But I'm sure everyone wants to see my pretty face.
Yeah, sure. John, any last thoughts?
No.
Danny, nothing? No thought for the day?
Join the Patreon and tell me what to spend my money on, I guess.
Spend your hard-earned $5 to be able to tell
Exactly.
Danny how to spend his hard-earned $500.
Yeah.
500.
Listen.
What army can you get for $500?
It depends. If you play
I
Knights, you play Dreadnought Army.
Yeah.
Maybe
I have
not- definitely not
frontline
Sisters
gaming
Army.
credit. hmm
My thought for today is Happy October, everybody.
Enjoy your Orktober, people.
Enjoy your-
while it lasts for another week and a half.
Oh my God! All right. Good night.